All right, welcome to the Process Podcast. My name is Chris. How's it going, guys?
Good.
Great.
Good now that I've eaten.
That's
True-
right.
true
This
story.
is also the first time we ever recorded this episode. right?
Totally.
So, quick background story: we recorded this episode 2 days ago, and then we found out that one of the mics was not being picked up at all.
Oh shit.
So it sounded like Lou was stuck in a box
Oh,
while
shit.
we were having a regular conversation. So
Chris
we're gonna
actually
try
made a
this
joke
again.
about not needing Ed around because this is the first podcast not hosted by Ed, and then
That
it
is true.
didn't actually work
Yeah.
out.
Got cursed, but now we're back again.
We're
Can happen
back.
to anyone, man.
I know.
We're back.
So we're gonna go and try this again. We will be talking about the same topic.
All right.
I needed to hit that.
Well done.
It's
Yeah.
great.
So we're going to talk today about a specific topic. Before we get into that, let's go ahead and go around the room and introduce ourselves, name what you do, and a shout out. So I'll start. My name is Chris. I am the community manager for the process programming, and I'm going to shout out to you fine folks for coming in on a Friday to do this one more time.
Ooh, I like it.
All right, go ahead.
Okay, hello everyone. My name is Andrew. They call me Lou. I'm coach at Coastal Fitness, and I love plants. I love diving. I love coffee, and I love
Love it.
lifting. I love like training, and
Shout out.
Who's your shout out, man?
Shout out to my mom. Hello, mama.
That's good. That's
Love
good.
it.
Good boy.
My name is Tammy. I am part of the process programming crew. I'm going to leave it at that because my roles and responsibilities kind of extend widely.
That's true.
But it's great because we have a lovely, diverse umbrella. My shout out is going to be to Ed because I would like to make him listen to this podcast.
Oh, he's going to listen. He's
He
going to listen
better.
good.
You better.
It's going to critique us. I'm Storm. I'm a member at Coastal, part of the process programming. Process.
However you say it, man.
I follow the build program. Get jacked. Trying. And I work in the athletics department at a big international school, and I play some sports outside of the gym, such as netball and touch rugby. That's me.
Who's your shout out?
My shout out is, my first shout out was to Claudia. So, Claudia, this is for you because you said you would listen to it as soon as it comes out.
That's right.
And Charles, because I don't want you to feel bad, like I don't love you. So, love you.
Nice.
Well done. Good job, guys. It's a good start. So, what we're going to talk about today is today's date is January 5th. Thank you, Storm. And it's a new year. It's 2024. And what happens every time we always start a new year typically is
New Year's resolution.
New Year's resolution.
Reflections.
Yeah, so a lot of things going on is turning the page on 2023 and looking forward to 2024 with a lot of ambition and goals. So before we get into that, yes, New Year's resolutions, I'm going to give you some data points for us to start our discussion.
Ooh.
According to researchers at the British market research firm YouGov PLC,
Oh.
9% of Americans that make resolutions complete them, meaning that 91%
91% don't.
do not. Again, this is a British firm
Not
looking
a
at
good
Americans, so I don't know if that means anything.
Not a
Some
good
sort of
success
bias.
rate.
23% quit their resolution by the end of the first week,
Oh, damn.
and 43% quit by the end of January.
That's pretty good. Valiant effort by the 40%.
That's right. That's
Four
right.
week period.
With that in mind, I think it is pretty common for us to encounter New Year's resolutions that kind of get binned pretty quickly. And there is actually unofficial holidays, according to Forbes Health. January 17th is known as Ditch New Year's Resolutions Day.
Oh.
Oh.
Do we get a public holiday for that?
Well, in some sense, yeah. And then the second Friday in January, this year would be January 12th, is Quitters Day.
Oh.
Do you want to be part of the Quitters Club?
That's right. So let's open up this discussion real quick. Do we have any like failed New Year's resolutions that we've had in the past?
Every year.
Every year.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. You want to start us off?
Sure. I mean, I feel like I set sometimes too many things. And in the time where you feel ambitious and you're like, I can do it all. I'm
Everything.
amazing. Look at me
Right.
go. Yeah, you get through it and you kind of realize like, maybe I actually didn't really want that. I think a lot of the times where I realize the failed side of it is like, I maybe set the goal for a reason that wasn't deep enough or it didn't resonate with me enough or it wasn't the right timing or, you know, things had changed. Like that is normally what I feel like has happened.
Sure.
But also I do set out things that maybe I don't end up achieving in the year, but it's probably a choice to prioritize the other stuff that's more important to me.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not big on New Year's resolutions.
At all.
At all. I have set some intentions before, something like try to eat more vegetables because, you know, I love my meat and potatoes, typical South African girl here.
Nice.
Beige plate.
And I never really follow through with that. I'm always just like, I'm full. I know I should get some of the nutrients in though, but not really a New Year's resolution kind of person. I try, I think, to be a little bit more consistent in my behaviors. And maybe just try and improve a little bit on some existing behaviors, for example. Like maybe whether it is training or recovery, maybe try and improve the things that I'm doing or tweak them a little bit rather than something brand new.
Got it.
You know, yeah.
I just had a thought come to mind.
Go for it.
Have you ever failed a New Year's resolution? I feel like I head into the new year being like, I'm going to set some goals. Weeks pass. Don't set the goals.
Oh.
So I failed the process of even getting to that point.
Just a blank page.
Just gonna wing it.
Andrew, what you got for us?
The good thing about me is I don't really remember my goals. And
Is that a good thing?
I'm super
He's
forgetful.
definitely winging
The
it.
self-acclaimed
beautiful.
great thing about
So I
myself.
the thing is I don't really remember what I failed and don't really remember what goals that I've set. So just kind of go by feel, like most of the
Intuitive.
time. Yeah, exactly.
And you feel like, I guess, do you even think about that process, or it's all just like it's all good either way?
Yeah, it's all good either way.
He is Buddha.
That's right.
So laid back. He's
Chris?
almost horizontal.
For myself, I think probably like a lot of adults is doing something like cutting back on alcohol, where I was like, I'm gonna drink only on the weekends.
Nice.
And that didn't become something where like I binge drank every weekend, but then it became something where like I would like find a reason, be like, it's a special occasion, it's someone's birthday, or like I looked at the clock and it was 11:11. Better crack up a beer.
Hey,
I
I
can find
saw
a reason for this.
I saw that Instagram post already. You drinking that 0.5
Yeah, so I'm
non-alcoholic.
So
beer.
yeah, I am starting with dry January right now, and I'm currently successful. This is a
Classic.
water right here.
fine.
5 days in.
Yeah.
Nice,
so
man.
so we're doing okay so far. But yeah, just like the idea of doing something all or nothing. That was probably my problem was diving too deep into a goal
Yeah.
and not having any type of like medium ground there.
Absolutely. I would say that is so common. It's actually
Definitely.
pretty much my job is teaching people that they have an all or nothing mentality and how to change that. Like that's the whole idea of like behavioral therapy and changing the way that people perceive things. And that applies to anything. Like
Absolutely.
it's not just fitness goals. It's not just health related. It's just like everything. We think we need to dive in head first, but actually the best thing we could do is just start with one little thing.
Well, and it's also like it applies to everything, but it also applies to everyone, right? 'Cause you're a
Absolutely.
coach and you're giving that advice, but I'm sure
Yeah.
you find yourself doing
In the
that
same
too,
boat.
naturally.
Absolutely.
I do it too, and I'm a coach.
Yeah.
Storm, you're a teacher. Andrew, you're a coach. We all have these things where it's like do as I say, not as I do. It
Yeah.
happens all the time, right?
Yeah.
We don't always do as we want others to do.
That's
Yeah.
right.
And I think you got to make it sustainable, right? I think maybe being a little bit older, wiser, maybe having tried this a bit without actually setting New Year's resolutions is if you try and do too much too quickly, it just becomes so overwhelming. And
Right.
then you're just like, oh my God, it's too much. And then you feel like you've just failed everything. And you're like, oh, what's the point? I might as well just throw it all in, you know?
Fuck it.
Whereas if you maybe do like little bite-sized chunks, you know, and slowly build into it, it makes it way more manageable and
Yeah.
not such a big deal or not such a big change, you know?
Right.
And then you can look back in a couple months where you have actually made that change that maybe you wanted to make, but you've just taken smaller steps to get there and it's been way more manageable for you, you know?
Well, I think, yeah. I mean, like, the science behind it all is like we are driven to feel good. Success feels good.
Yep.
It doesn't matter how small or big it is, as long as we can recognize that it's success. Like, we're going to have oxytocin and serotonin and dopamine and all the good things.
All the good things.
But at the same time, if we develop a negative cycle, then that goes the other way as well. Like, we continually put ourselves into that. So then, again, it's heading from this continual phase of you could either be taking little steps and moving forward
Yep.
or take one big step back and be like, well, no, I'm just going to keep going that way. So, yeah, the all or nothing mentality. Whew, it's a biggie.
So in getting to that whole conversation, yes, we did talk about this for about an hour on Wednesday, but one thing that really resonated with me that came out of that discussion was reframing that mindset, right?
Yeah.
Instead of talking about goals, we can talk about other things. And the one word that we talked about that was really interesting was intention, right?
Mm.
So I'm going to read a little bit more for you here. I was looking about the idea of going from goals to intentions on Google, and I found this writer, Omar Itani. He's a writer on personal growth, creative success, and slow life design. So strap yourselves in. I'm going to be reading this out loud for like 3 minutes.
3 minutes.
I don't know.
dang.
Let's see.
Okay.
An intention is a guiding principle for who you want to be and how you want to act, live, and show up in this world. Whether at work, in relationships, during your creative or spiritual pursuits, or in any other area of your life, an intention serves as an internal compass. It offers a sense of clarity and helps guide your actions as you move throughout the days of the year. In yogic philosophy, and then this is something that you talked about as well, Zorn, an intention is referred to as sankalpa. This term comes from the Sanskrit root san, meaning connection with the highest truth, and kalpa, meaning vow. An intention, or sankalpa, then is a solemn vow and commitment we make with ourselves to support our highest truth.
Nice.
But an intention shouldn't be confused with a goal. A goal is the desired outcome you wish to attain further into the future. An intention is a chosen theme that allows you to create alignment in your life. Think of it as a greater aim, a holistic purpose, or an attitude you're choosing to commit to. It forms the fabric through which you will sow your actions and reap the rewards. An intention gives you a purpose to focus on, and isn't purpose what we need as humans to find meaning in what we do.
Yep.
And one last thing that he said about this was, if goals are about the destination, intentions are about direction.
Love it.
Damn.
I
Okay,
thought you were going to say the process.
Well, I mean, it's a
Same
little
thing.
Pretty
bit,
much
right?
the same thing.
Yeah.
So, having read that, just first thoughts that come to mind as, I read that to you guys.
I like that. That's a little bit more, really is about the direction and the journey and not quite putting this, sort of concrete goal, like I'm just going to work towards this. It's more about like what you're doing, like overall, and how it's guiding your life and how you're guiding your day-to-day living, your mindset towards things, how maybe you treat other people in your lives, or the attitude that you use when you're engaging in tasks. So I think it's definitely, and they use the word holistic, it's definitely a lot more of like a whole human kind of way of thinking,
Like in everything that you do.
rather than like, there's nothing wrong with laser focus, but as opposed to like laser focus, I'm just going here and I'm not really focusing or noticing anything else around me, It sounds like it's guiding more how you should kind of behave in your everyday life, interact with people, interact with whatever your general goals are as well. And almost reading that kind of tells you to just be kind of like a better person almost, or think about how you're doing things,
Right.
what your
I
intention.
mean, don't we all want to be better people, right?
I
Yeah.
hope so. Yeah. When I hear that, it's kind of, to me, hearing like, be the change you want to see. And
Sure.
it is not to say that right here and right now in this moment, you are that person that you are looking to strive to be in the future, but use that as your like North Star, right? It's kind of like every decision and every action that you're taking. If you had a moment to just pause and reflect and think how that future person would respond in that moment, it is going to set you up to align with what you're working towards. And I think that, people say that goal is the destination. And I feel like a lot of people put off their happiness to get there. When I achieve X, I will feel happy.
And then
But-
unlikely you do feel happy.
well,
You
it
do,
is.
but-
I think you could if you hit it, but you also have so much opportunity to learn in the process of it. And if you could focus on the whole journey of getting to that point, yeah, cool. It would be cool if you
Experience.
achieve it, but you would have seen the whole thing in a completely different light. And I think that if you do achieve that thing, what's next? Like, you're going to have to be like constantly, if this happens, if this happens, if this happens, instead of actually all of this is great.
Yeah. Well, one thing that is really interesting about what you said is the whole idea of once you reach your goal, like whether or not you achieve it, but specifically if you achieve your goal, because you're so focused on it,
You're
and
like, "Ooh,
because
what's
you
next?"
you just took things away from that in order to get there. There's like a feeling of emptiness knowing that that journey is over, and also like the sadness of like, what did I do in order to get to this,
Yeah.
right? And even just the idea that like looking back and those steps that you had to take and the growth that you had, if you don't acknowledge that, then yeah, there is going to be that feeling of emptiness. We had a previous guest, Brandon Wakeling, and he is an Australian weightlifter, and he made it to the Olympics, which is the pinnacle of most sports, is to make it to the Olympics every 4 years. It's a limited opportunity. So I would assume that, looking from the outside in, that's like the biggest thing, and I would take in every single moment. And then when he was reflecting with Ed about it, what was really interesting of him to say, and I appreciate, is that for him, he barely remembers the Olympics itself. What he remembers is every friggin' rep. Every time he had to figure out his recovery, every time he got injured, every time he was sidelined, in order to make himself that level to be able to achieve to make it to the Olympics. So for him, it was just like the cherry on top of everything else. But everything that really mattered to him was that process, was that journey, and the intentions that he set to be able to achieve that goal.
That is incredible. I feel like it takes a lot of self-awareness to be able to do that. It really does. I'm going to listen to that podcast.
It's a good one.
What episode is it? Do you know?
Yeah, it's like in 194 or something like that. Yeah,
Damn,
it's super recent. I mean, I produced this. But yeah.
194. Have a listen.
So like when I listen to that quote, what is in my mind is intentions is similar to developing like good habits, like discipline, like consistency, like managing stress, all those kind of good habits that guide you to what you think is success is. So it's just like the final part. It's just like the destination and the direction. Yeah. Developing like those kind of habits, those kind of consistency allowed you to be more focused, or like you're just like not turning like side to side or anything like that. You're going to the right path to your goal.
You know what that's really interesting about when I was reading that? I mean, you're sitting right next to me. So in the podcast, if you're listening to this, and you're sitting right next to me, and I have my computer screen up because I didn't remember that. I had to read it off the computer. And as I was speaking it, I could feel Andrew just like looking straight at the screen. And
because you're
really
speaking too fast.
But for me, it seemed like, because it was so funny when we talked about this, that you're like, I don't really think about goals. I think you're naturally an intention kind of person. I think that's why this speaks to you.
Resonates a little more. Yeah,
it resonates me a little bit more because I don't really like to set goals, but I'm trying to find the right direction. So just move closer to what I want to get in my life. Because while setting goals for life, or even for like a lot of people in the modern society, is that like setting goals because other people ask you to, or you're setting goals because you want to fulfill other people's expectations and stuff like that. Exactly. So I don't like to set goals, is because I want to go by feel a little bit more, and let's see how life get me to.
And you do rather, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that's cool. I think something that actually popped into my head when you were speaking about it being a little bit more of a personal thing and giving direction. I know that I've read it somewhere before, I've talked about it before, but it's the concept of having outcome-based goals versus identity-based goals. And it's the idea of, okay, for example, last year I set the goal of running at least once a week, right? The goal was to run once a week, but the identity thing was I wanted to become a runner, right? So the more you adopt the idea of like, I want to become this, I want to be a reader, I want to be a writer, I want to be a whatever, I feel like it resonates a lot more, and it drove me to do it more rather than like, I need to run, full stop.
So is the difference, so if you're talking about going from running at least once a week to becoming a runner, is it more like doing what you need to doing what you need to do in order to consider yourself a runner, like that?
I think for me, it's like the goal wasn't like to just tick the box of like, I'm just going to run. It was, I want to build the habit of becoming a runner and continue to do that. Like the goal wasn't to get to just running once a week. I couldn't finish that goal. It was like, I want this to be now part of my routine and to develop it into a habit. Like I don't have to think about it anymore. I wake up and I know this is the day that I want to go for a run.
It's the second nature. Yeah.
I wish I felt like that about running.
Really?
I used to run loads when I was younger. And now I feel a little bit more of, I need to run because I need to train for competition.
Can I ask you
but
about
I never
that,
I never wake up and go, oh, I really feel like going for a run. I think Hong Kong is not conducive to it. I think if I was in a slightly different environment.
Llama.
Fair.
Yeah.
just less people in the way and clouds of cigarette smoke and stuff,
Yeah.
I might be more
Well,
inclined
I
to.
want you to reflect here for us for a bit,
Me
because we
too.
talked about this in the previous recording of the episode. The attempt was talking about getting your second High Rocks championship here in Hong Kong at the 35 to 39 division pro this time,
Pro.
Ooh.
right?
Yeah.
And the discomfort that you had about setting that goal and kind of
Yeah.
speaking that goal. Looking back, now we're looking at this lens of intention. Did you have a clear intention at least?
I think, and I remember you asking me if someone had said to me, what did I want to achieve, or what did I want out of the race? What was my goal, for lack of a better word? I would have said to you that I wanted to win my age group because I wanted to qualify again. But I probably wouldn't have said it out loud to too many people because I was scared of not achieving it. And I can compare it back to last year at World Champs. I knew that my dad had come in from Wales to watch. My brother and his girlfriend came up from London. Like we had friends there. And I was just like, the whole time, like, what if I let them down? In the build up to it, I was like, what if I let them down? And what if I don't do well? Whatever well was, I didn't really have a idea. And then the other side of me was like, and Tammi mentioned this, if I was watching one of my friends, if I was watching one of them, I would never stop and be like, oh, she's not doing well. I'd be like, hell, girl, you are getting it, like you are doing the thing. And so I sometimes say like the irrational versus the rational side of me. Yeah. The rational side of me was saying, they will be so supportive and no one is going to think that you're not achieving. Like you're doing this thing, whatever your way of doing it is and whatever you achieve, you're still doing the thing, And I think that's probably the two sides of me, is where I'll often I'll downplay things. And last year when people are like, oh, wow, you won your age group and you're going to World Champs. And I was kind of like, oh, it's not such a big deal. But for some people, it is a pretty big deal and it is a pretty big achievement. And I'm not taking away from anybody else. But I was kind of like, oh, it was just the open category. And then when you go to World Champs, you have to do the pro category. And then this year, for me, I guess the goal was that I really wanted to get back to World Champs. Right. And in Singapore, I came second, but I went into the race with no expectations, not a lot of training beforehand. The circumstances of the race were slightly different. It was a much slower track and it was quite hot. But I just went there to do it, was with mates. But then I came second and I was like, oh, maybe there's actually a chance that I could do this. And I did go, well, I guess I need to do Hong Kong, and I guess my goal is to qualify. Yeah. But also I tried hard not to put too much pressure on myself. I think I'm pretty good at staying in my own lane and trying not to compare myself to others, being sort of accepting of what my abilities are and realistic as well. But that was definitely my intention and my goal. And throughout the race, I must say, I had Charles alongside me every single time going, those girls are still behind you and these are the girls that are in front of you. And if you carry on with this pace, you're going to do a better time than you did. And, he was there.
By the way, shout out to Charles.
Go on, yeah.
Because, you shared this on Instagram in both your race in Singapore and in Hong Kong. He's right there on the gate and he's like your human valet, your human cheerleader.
It's carrying my bag.
But he was supporting you every step of the way.
Literally, I walked into the venue and he was like, yeah, I'll carry your bag. And I'm like, is this okay? And he's like, no, I'll carry it. I'll carry it. Digress
he told
there
me
a little bit.
I was like warming up as well, and I saw Charles and I start chatting to him, and I saw you warming up, and I start to walk to you and chat to you. Charles told me, oh, don't chat to Storm. She's in the zone right now.
What's the
bodyguard
zone?
as well? Bodyguard as well.
I wanted to walk around and support people because I think just before my race, Lee was going, and he was like, "Okay, you need to go to a quiet place now. You need to be off your feet. You need to." And I was like, "Okay, coach, I'm going. I'm going." Yeah. But in a nutshell, it was my goal, and I guess it was my intention as well. Yeah. Even though I'm scared to verbalize it and set it out there, put it out there for everybody else, because I'm really scared of failure in that sense. So even with my goals for the race going forward, which I told you guys already, I said it out loud, I have set a goal in my mind, and I will tell people what it is if they ask me. So
we're asking you about that.
So what's the goal, Storm?
It's not a set concrete time, but I would love to be roughly 10 minutes faster than my best time,
Yeah.
Ooh.
which is quite a big, it's quite a big jump.
Yeah.
But basically, I just need to get strong.
Mhm. That's your weakness.
That's
right now.
that's my weakness.
Relative.
Well, no,
Sorry. I mean, let's pull back. The ridiculousness of what I just said is your weakness is that you're not strong enough. So I mean, it's obvious enough, right?
so my running improved loads, and I've now having a little bit more experience with this, I've noticed that I pick up the aerobic side of things, and if you know me, aerobic conditioning workouts are definitely my jam. Longer ones are definitely my jam, like my favorite kind of jam. So the longer time frame, the longer time domain, and my running under fatigue or compromised running, I was really, really chuffed with my run pace. But even if I cut my run pace down by 10 seconds to like 4:30 laps, that's not going to help me get 10 minutes off my race. That's 8 times 10 seconds. So I actually did a brief analysis, and I showed it very quickly to Ant at the start of the holidays, and he just said it looks like that sled push is just zapping all of your strength straight away. And now I'm kind of doing what like Tammi did. I'm just running once a week, some sort of running, but at least 4 strength sessions following the build program. So, and I actually did a little in-body test, scan, that's it. And I'm not that phased about what the numbers say. I don't really focus on my weight and stuff like that, but it will be quite cool to see the muscle mass increases like in 2 months time, 4 months time, when I have to start implementing and executing more
like sport specific stuff.
More high rock specific workouts that are going to be maybe less strength focused and more longer endurance pieces. But for the next 4 months, it's going to be just run once a week, play my sport, and get strong.
Right. So
and eat.
I mean, that's the thing that's going to be, I guess, the other important part about this idea of New Year's resolutions and goals versus intentions. Because in reality, intentions are great, but goals, I mean, still exist, right? I mean, there is like a goal of having a specific time that you want in your race at the pro category, right? And just looking in our lives, goals are things that exist, right? Isla's baby was just here, and we're talking about her getting bigger, and then babies have milestones with the doctor. You have like percentiles of like head size and height and everything. When you go to school, you have like marks, right? You have failure all the way to A++, right? My daughter came home yesterday with 100% on her Chinese quiz, by the way.
Oh,
damn!
See, and I'm proud of that, right? So
obviously, it's why you're bringing it up. That's awesome, man.
She needs to teach
What's
you
how?
Chinese.
I know. And in school, we're looking for degrees to get. We continued education as professionals. Work, we have KPIs, right? Key performance indicators. So goals are there. So I guess that my question would be like, are goals still important, even though we want to place more importance on intention?
I would argue yes, but I would argue the type of goal. Because everything you've said just then is a very standard way to look at goals. And it's very much like, go to school and do well at school and get a degree.
Become
and
a
get
doctor
a
or
job
a lawyer.
and then progress through that career. And I think sometimes what a lot of people do wrong or try to do is fulfill the goals of other people that they have for them, or what they expect people to think that they need to do. And I think that that's where unhappiness stems from.
Got it.
And I think that having a strong why behind the goal that you have is what is actually really incredibly important. So
drive you.
Yeah, exactly. It's like the driving force. It's like, okay, here is your fluffed up goal of like what you want to achieve. So for a lot of people, they come to the gym and they're going to say, I want to get fit. I want to get strong. I want to get lean. I want to, insert the blank. And when I question that more, I don't know if you've heard of it, but it's like the 5 whys. Yeah. So the 5 whys is an incredible exercise, and you can do it with, again, it's like any habit that you have. Why do you do it?
Yeah.
Why is that important to you? Kind of thing. Like, why do you want to always eat all the food on your plate? Why do you feel like you need to have a drink on the weekend? Like there's all these different things, but essentially the process runs through 5 sets of whys.
Right.
Question 1, what's the goal? Why is that your goal? Why is that important to you? And you keep going down until you get to the answer at the bottom. And for some people, it is just to look good naked. There is nothing wrong with that at all. But at least then, like all the choices you're making are towards that specific thing. But then digging deeper into, maybe someone who's a parent, they're like, I actually had this conversation with someone today that's a new client. They were like, actually, I just want to be able to be like, I want to age with grace. I want to be able to move still. My kids are getting older and I know that they're sporty and I want to be able to play the sports with them. I don't want to be a dad on the sideline just watching. So yeah, I think goals are important, but I think understanding why you want that goal, because motivation is finite. It will run out. And if you don't have a strong enough backing point, why the fuck would you do it?
Yeah. And I guess it's like a maturity process, right? Like,
Yeah.
of course, when you're a kid, these goals are pretty much standardized
Yeah.
and they're going to be there.
You kind of have no choice.
But it's all about taking ownership over it. It's like, all right, see that goal that's there and then make it your own and find out your why for it. And if you have a different why, then go ahead and pivot.
Rock
right?
it.
Yeah. Andrew?
Yeah, that makes me like think about like every time when we get an individual client on board, we go through our our initial consultation,
Right.
and then every single time we ask them like loads of questions, loads of personal like habit questions, but also we delve back into their why and also their goals. We ask them like before we actually setting up goals, we ask them about like really open-ended question like what is in your personal space and stuff like that.
I heard
But
that
like-
question yesterday. I sat in with one of my student athletes from school, who's
Okay.
12. So I sat in with her, and Karan asked her, "What is in your personal space?" And I was like, "I don't really know how to answer that." And she just went for it. I was like,
Yeah.
"Yes, girl."
Yeah.
Yeah, so that
New
kind
generation.
of questions, yeah, is like basically what people would say is like what is their priority in life,
Yeah.
usually, and then people might say like family, people might say like anything like that, or like health is important or something like that in
Right.
their personal mind that help us when we set up our goals, basically just to have a better foundations and better motivation when every time when I'm working out, when I'm tired, I start dialing back my goals. I want to age well. I want to just like what you said, play with my kids and not like standing on the side and drinking my beer and just chilling, eating French fries, right? So
Sounds pretty good.
I mean,
it
I
sounds pretty
don't
good to
judge
me.
that.
No
But, like,
judgment, though.
no judgment though. Like that's like
But yeah.
that's just like make me think about like our initial consultation, and also like setting up goals is good, but also setting up the right goals is important as well.
Nice, Lou.
Yeah, so I mean, really good point here. Just to summarize, just this part of the conversation is, goals are important, but you need to get to the why of that. And it almost sounds like you need to connect your goal with your intention,
Yeah.
right? And if there's a misalignment there, you're going to be able to find it out within those 5 questions.
Most likely,
Maybe
you're gonna
that's
fail
by
as well.
the 17th of Jan. That's why it happens.
Quitters.
People know. They're like, oh,
It
I've
just
done the
kinda-
5
it just
whys
doesn't
now.
resonate with me. That's all.
I think the intentions also really help with the journey of achieving that goal. You know,
Yeah.
how are you going about it, and you know, are you doing it in a way that's enjoyable to you, sustainable, help
Right.
you consistent? You know, all of these sort of buzzwords, but they're there for a reason, right? You know, and I think the intentions just help you figure that out. You know, so yeah, that's exactly it. Just find the way that you're finding the way to get there. You know, the way you're doing it
Okay.
to get there. I think intentions help there.
Systems. I'm a systems gal.
Yeah.
So
Oh, yeah.
analytical.
Yeah. Well, I feel like it's not the goal that sets you up for failure. It's the system that you create to get there.
Got it.
And yeah, okay, you can do things intuitively for sure. There are little things that can happen with, but like you set a goal of having a super specific thing, 100
Gotta be a
kg snatch,
process.
and you just wing it. Yeah, maybe you're going to get there, but the system is definitely going to get you closer than just winging it, right?
Yeah.
You know, I think Lou actually mentioned his goal, his intention, his after the CrossFit Open last year, you know, and what he found were his weaknesses or things that really stuck out, and the sort of plan and the process he followed to improve those things. You know, maybe he can tell us a little bit more about how he did it, and that's kind of
Okay.
was what Tammy's mentioning. You know, you could have this goal, but if you just kind of wing it, and if you don't have a clear direction to get it, you
Right.
know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think like after the CrossFit Open and the athlete camp, there's 2 workouts specifically that like crushes me. The first one is like athlete camp. There is like under fatigue handstand walk, and I couldn't even do it when I'm fresh. So like, how could I do it when I'm under fatigue? So
Magic.
yeah, that's yeah. So suddenly like throw my head, bring it upside down, and
Yeah, sometimes it
let's do
works.
that. Yeah, sometimes it works. And then in a CrossFit Open, I think it's 223.1. There's like a ring muscle up over there.
Yeah, that's right.
I can do it when I'm fresh, like 1 or 2 reps, but under fatigue, I just like couldn't do it. And then after that, I set up my goals, but like I didn't set up a specific goals on like I need to do like a 25 feet handstand walk.
Right.
I need to do like anything like unbroken muscle up. How many reps? I didn't set it, but like I set some like habits. Like I write it down in our monthly goal. Every single month, our like coaching team would sit down in our team meeting, setting up like some goals.
Yeah, we like
and
this
then
a lot.
just like Tammy like running once a week, and then I just put it down doing like skill work once a week. So that like helped me to slowly, not for a long time. I don't want to do like an hour session just doing handstand walk, but just like 10-15 minutes every week. And eventually like after like a couple months, I'm able to do like 25 feet handstand walk unbroken. And and then and then afterwards I shift my focus to like my ring muscle up skill work. And then just basically when the LPC is doing toes to bar, anything like that, I just substitute it with my ring muscle up progressions. And I'm able to get, I forgot, 5 to 6 unbroken reps. So
Nice.
Ooh.
Crushed it.
I hope it
Yeah.
would probably, I'm not sure if, I still hope that it will come up in the CrossFit Open this year, but like I'm not afraid of it anymore.
That's
Good,
awesome.
good.
I
Yeah.
love so much what Andrew said. Something I admire about Andrew is his laid back nature. Super laid back. And because of that, Andrew doesn't put much pressure on himself. And I think that pressure definitely is something that we create for ourselves. Unfortunately, we feel people have expectations, but you do a really good job of just being like, well, kind of set this goal. This is what I'm going to work towards. And what he did was so great. He just broke it down. And this is what I meant by the system into super small, manageable chunks. You were just like, hey, and I remember it because the other guys would give you a little bit of shit. You would go down to the floor and do your 10 to 15 minutes. It's, by the way, the elite guys are like starting their second session. They're going to be there for like 2 hours. And Andrew's just like a couple arm swings, couple handstands, done. They're
And
like,
I'm
that's it. Like,
That's right.
that's all I needed to do.
Yeah.
So he's like progressively tick the box. And the thing with him was he showed up consistently every single week. He did it. He ticked it off. And for those of you who don't really know what we do here in our team meetings, but once a month we sit down,
That's right.
we set goals. We often fail them, but we set them. And the great thing about it is that naturally provides an accountability system. So I know for me personally, if I want to set a goal, and one of my goals was flossing my teeth every day. Yes, as basic as that. I knew by telling you guys, I'm such a goal-oriented person, and I knew that you knew, and I felt like I would judge myself if I didn't do that. Yeah. Like to the point where I was like at a friend's house one night, they didn't have floss. I ran to the store to go and get some.
Didn't.
I did.
I've always got
Because I was like, I don't want to fail my goal. I said it. I want to get a tick in the team meeting. But yeah, it's just like multiple things there. He got an accountability system naturally. He did things progressively and started really small. He focused on the small wins. And because he didn't set this like number, anything was success. And I love that. So it's like also, how do you define success with your goal?
Yeah.
And I think that's what sometimes people struggle to articulate.
They think it has to be this like big lofty goal, or but it
Yeah.
can be something super personal. Something,
Absolutely.
just something that you want to be better at or do better or achieve. It doesn't have to be, we were saying like the societal expectations, or even being in a CrossFit gym. And of course, like Andrew's around some super fit people, some super able-bodied guys that are doing some really great stuff, but he just was like, that's cool. I'm going to just do me. And you got it. That's awesome.
So to that in mind, so I want to kind of not shift focus. We're talking about goals and intentions. So I want to connect the two with each of us in the room real quick. So I want, first of all, like Tammy saying, the whole accountability and being able to get to like the root of that goal. I just want you to articulate a goal that you have. It doesn't even have to be a resolution. It doesn't have to be something that has to be done by the end of the year. Just a goal that you have in mind right now. So one goal that I have in mind is to consistently close my computer once dinner begins. That way I can stop working at some point when I'm at home. So a little bit of background information on this is I left the corporate world in May, and when you're in the corporate world, you can leave your work behind when you leave your office. When you're working for yourself, and I do a lot of personal training as well as working online for the process, my work is wherever my computer or my phone is. So it's very easy to kind of talk myself into I can do a little bit more, or like it's important enough that I got to do it after dinner. The problem is I have 2 kids at home. I have a 5-year-old and 7-year-old, and they love to,
They just want to see dad.
they want to hang
Right,
out,
Dad.
and I don't want to be like I'm too busy, and I'm doing that way too often, and so I've caught myself. So the goal, to be clear about it, is to close my computer by the time dinner begins.
And be
Chris,
present with the kid.
for those of us who are just listening and not watching, when he was saying that, like, had my hands
cheering.
in the
At the table.
air, like, yes! And I was shaking the table because that is something Chris and I have spoken about a little bit, not in a lot of detail. But I love the idea that you're setting that boundary for yourself because your priority is your family.
Yeah.
And if you don't create a boundary, someone else will create it for you.
Sure.
So I just love that you are taking ownership of it.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, so that's
So
the goal.
excited.
So again, that's my goal, close the computer by dinner time. So, Andrew, do you have a clear goal in mind?
Well, one of my goals is to compete in, like, I've done like quite a few team CrossFit competition,
Right.
but I haven't done like any individual competition. So I want in 2024 I want to do some like individual CrossFit competition.
Let's go.
In person?
Yeah,
In person?
in person, and doesn't really matter if it's
just
local.
overseas, just doing it by himself.
Yeah.
As opposed to like online kind of thing.
no.
Oh
online
yeah,
shit,
yeah,
yeah.
good question. Like maybe like a qualifier, and then I spoken about it last time. It's like maybe the Asia CrossFit Championship would
Yeah.
be fun
Yeah.
if
Did you
I
do
can.
Bangkok Throwdown?
This
That's
year is
a no.
already done, right? Like,
Yeah, yeah.
I want to do it. Just pick one. I will
Yeah,
start
yeah,
with.
yeah,
Let's
yeah, okay.
start with
Yeah.
one. So and I'm open minded. It doesn't really matter if like I can qualify for it, then I will do it. And and that's my first goal. Second goal would be
Get it, son.
like really download a monthly challenge, but I failed it. Is to snatch 100 and clean and jerk 120.
It's gonna happen.
It's hopefully gonna
gonna
happen
happen,
this year.
Lou.
Yeah.
Yeah. Lou
I
just came
believe
back
in you.
from a trip to Taiwan
Manifestation.
to clean up his clean and snatch technique, and
Yeah.
we're on the
Yeah.
way. That's
Yeah,
the system.
on the way, road to
You got it.
100. Yeah.
I reckon. All right. Well, I definitely have a few, but I'm not going to share them all. One of the biggest ones that I feel as though I am trying to implement is I am super productive in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
Like, wake up, roll out of bed, get on my laptop,
Yeah.
go.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I think that it is important to start my day with a little bit more me stuff
Okay.
before getting into that. Now, the reason I'm able to do that is, everyone, wait a second. I no longer have to take 5:15 classes and open the gym at 5,
That's right.
which is the first time in my entire career. I've
That's
always
wild.
been the morning coach, and I am now living my life by design on a small island. And with that, next week we start our new schedule, and I'm so excited to be able to have specific slots to do stuff. I think for me, my schedule was a little bit more sporadic, especially the last few months. We've had coaches away, we've had holidays, we've had, I moved to a different place. Like, there was a lot going on for like the last 6 months.
Figuring it
So
out.
I am so excited to just like create routine
Nice.
and create structure. And the highlight of what I was writing down when I was going through all this was carve out time for yourself at the beginning of your day. So the goal is 30 minutes. The start of what I've done to help and assist that is I read for 10 to 15 minutes in the morning. And then you guys know, like, my
Do
stomach.
you want to develop a coffee routine in the morning? I can help you with that.
He knows a guy.
I have one. It's drink it and go to the toilet straight after.
Drink and go to the toilet.
That's right, straight through you, huh?
So yeah, the first part of that is waking up and reading.
Waking up at 3:30 a.m. still?
Not anymore, unless I'm stressed.
Wow.
Not
yeah,
even joking.
That's a thing. But that's when I know, like, something's up and I haven't processed something, or I've got a to-do
wakes you
list
up.
that's looming
Yeah.
on me, and I just need to make a start on it.
Sure.
Yeah. But anyway, thank you for that. The second thing is I am working still to figure out more things that I can do for my mental health and my gut health, because there's a bi-directional link.
Exactly.
So I am actually doing hypnotherapy at the moment.
Whoa.
So IBS specific hypnotherapy. So that's a 15 to 20 minute session a day. And that's my 30 minutes.
Sorry,
Dang.
what's that?
Hypnotherapy?
So hypnotherapy, yeah, weird. I guess I didn't really know too much about it. I think I've learned a lot about different types of therapy,
Right.
like acceptance therapy, behavior therapy, cognitive, all of those sorts of things. Like I've read a lot about it and studied quite a bit of it. But hypnotherapy was always something that I was like, oh, it's heebie-jeebie, and like I'm
Yeah.
gonna have someone like
Sure.
puppeteering me and like
Yeah.
like
Oh,
that
yeah.
was my idea of it.
Yeah.
But what I'm learning more is it's actually like almost like a trance meditative state where same thing as like if you did Headspace, right? Like it guides you,
I like that.
or you're guided through like, all right, you're going to do your breathing stuff and like
Mhm.
you're going to get calm, you're going to get relaxed, you're in a quiet place, and like you start doing visualization stuff, or at least this is like the initial part of what I've gone through so far. And then eventually it puts you in a position where you're giving yourself positive affirmations about the way that your gut and your brain will react to each other, because a lot of the symptoms of IBS stem from stress, and there can be stress even just related to the thought of it. So like, someone invites me to go to a specific restaurant. Let's just say it's like Indian and there's heaps of garlic and onion.
Yeah,
Well,
you gotta
like
get the
my-
shit, then you actually gonna get the
Yes,
shit.
but then
Yeah.
in my head leading up to that, like I'm already thinking like, oh, like I know my stomach's going to be upset
Almost
after
like
this. So
So you
manifesting
think
it.
about it.
yeah,
and you
so
get it.
it's trying to actually talk to yourself, because like you were saying earlier, it's just like if you're thinking something, sometimes your body believes it. It doesn't know
Mhm.
reality versus what's going on in your mind, and
Mm.
it's a process of helping you to change those thoughts and to put positive intentions into the start of the day,
It's a
essentially.
very
That's interesting.
It's-
packed 30 minutes that you're
Do
saying.
you do it in the morning? You wanna
yes.
put
This
it
is
in the
your
morning
30
routine?
minutes, your 10
That
your
is
reading
my
and your hypnotherapy.
30 minutes to myself.
That's
Well,
good.
I guess like a part of the hypnotherapy is like breathing drills and like relaxing into it, and there's like a bit of a
Sure.
learning thing towards the
Mm.
end. But that's my goal so far.
Yeah.
Nice.
Nice. Well, I spoke about the High Rocks one already.
Yeah. Say it one more time. I forgot.
I would love to drop about 10 minutes from or cut.
I love how you're like about. Last time you were quite more definitive. She is downplaying it, guys.
I would like to finish High Rocks World Champs in a 10-minute faster time than I did my last race,
Okay.
which was already maybe like 2 to 2.5 minutes faster than last year's World Champs.
Amazing.
And
in pro.
by doing that, I would like to get stronger. And then I think my sort of less, I don't know, concrete, less outcome-based kind of goal is, I think I've noticed maybe over the past couple of years, is that I've become, I mean, if you know me, you would never call me an introvert at all. But Tammy's like, have you met me? But I think I've become a bit of an extroverted introvert. I'm super comfortable around people. I'm not shy. I don't feel self-conscious. But man, I love spending time at home by myself.
Sure.
And it makes it much easier to do it when you have a really cute dog.
Semi.
But I think I'm realizing a little bit more, maybe I need to sort of foster personal relationships and that human connection a bit more. And it doesn't have to be going out and socializing till late on the weekends, because, that's not really what my life is about now. But I think just, having a conversation with someone or having a coffee with them, it doesn't have to be regular, but kind of like checking in and just keeping those relationships alive,
Yeah.
because it doesn't matter how much money you've got. It doesn't matter what car you drive, like we all at some point are going to need people, or have that like support system, the people in our lives, the someone you can speak to when you're going through a tough time, or you can just shoot the shit with, casually. And it might be even like, making a new friend. And as I mentioned earlier, my shout out earlier was to Claudia. Claudia has been working at the front desk for the last couple of weeks while everyone's been
Oh,
on
that
holiday.
Claudia.
Yeah. And like, I find I come in here and we just like randomly chat and we shoot the shit so
Awesome.
much. We were walking the other day and she started opening up to me about some stuff that was going on in her life. And I just thought like, man, we just get on so easily, people do come into your life for a reason or a season, but
100%.
there are relationships that I want to just put maybe a little bit more effort into. And
Yeah.
that's, I think, would be in making the plan, making the time to see them in person every now and then.
Yeah.
And then, maybe potentially developing like a new friendship with somebody who I find like I just talk to really easily, you
Yeah.
know? So I think this year I want to maybe spend a little bit less time by myself, because it's just too easy to just go home. I sit at home in silence. It's strange. And I just read.
Yeah.
I love reading. So I read and I play word games. but it's too easy to just sit and do those things by yourself.
Right.
So yeah, this year is the year of a little bit more human connection. And
Nice.
I love that. That was my 2023 goal. It was the year of connection.
And you achieved it.
I definitely
RX
did.
plus.
Yes. I learned that the all or nothing approach does
Does
not
not
work with that. No, but it was great. I think, humans are designed to connect.
Sure.
If you think back to like the way that we would have initially learned to survive, people who stuck by themselves probably didn't survive as well as people who came together. And I think, connection doesn't mean having 1,000 friends, to me at least. Like, I don't care how many friends I have. Just give me that core of the onion, that
I
person
agree.
that
I
like
agree.
no matter what is going on, the good, the bad, the ugly, they are there for it all, and they're just authentic and they're themselves. And that's all I could ever want, is just to be around people who can just live their truth and be themselves and share everything with me, and I'll share everything with them. And yeah, it was a really beautiful year because of that. So I'm really excited for you.
And I think, for those of us that know you, even if we don't know you that well, like, it can sometimes be like it's a pretty big thing for you. You hug now as well, which is like
I'm a hugger.
huge. She's a hugger now. Like, it used to be like you wanted to hug Tammy, and she's just like, please don't, please don't, please
This
don't.
is growth, guys.
So
I've
this is
grown a
awesome.
lot.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So with that in mind, again, to recap our goals. So close the computer by dinner, compete in a CrossFit competition, 30 minutes of me time.
Yeah.
And then the 10 minutes at High Rocks plus connection. Oh, you also mentioned doing your own half Ironman.
Oh, I didn't mention that
triathlon.
this time. Yes. So right now I feel really sad about it, but it's okay because you got to look at the things you can do and not the things you can't do. But sometimes when you have an injury, it's hard not to be bummed.
Sure.
My foot is a little bit injured. Hopefully, provided it isn't anything too serious when I double check it again. But I would love to do a half Ironman at the end of the year or leading into 2025 is cool, but a destination somewhere that's fucking sick, like Hawaii. I don't even know if they do them there.
They do. They
But
do.
that would
They do.
be
They do
Yeah.
Ironman World Champs there, in
Whoa.
Kona.
Oh.
Yeah.
But the goal is to do it. Like, I can bloody walk it if I wanted to, and I'd be
Yeah.
pretty fucking stoked. But yeah, just put my fitness outside. Like, I've spent so many years of my fitness career
In the gym.
inside a gym that now I'm just like, get me out. I'm ready.
That's
And
cool.
your island home, allows for riding some bikes up hills. You said, it's a little bit of a hilly.
Yeah. Well, I'm actually going to
Swimming in the
invest
sea.
in one of those bikes that you put on like the things. I don't even know what it's called. That's how much knowledge I have. You
Oh,
know what
you
I
mean
mean?
like a
Bars.
stationary bike
Yeah.
at home,
Like a stationary bike that you put on the thing so that you
Oh, the
could take,
rollers.
then you could take the bike out if I
Yeah.
wanted to, but then
Yeah.
also have it at home.
It's the contraption that you put
Yeah,
the bike into, so you
exactly.
can use it inside and outside.
And I can run on the island. I can swim on the island. I'm so excited.
So safe to say we all have specific goals in mind.
Yes.
Now, going back to our friend Omar Itani, he
Yes.
also said, he suggests, and this is something that you guys both talked about here, he suggests one-word intentions, and this is why. This one-word intention comes from within and answers this overall question: what do I want my ultimate purpose to be this year? And it could be about the year again. It doesn't have to be about the year. But taking a look at your goal, what intention would you say in one word that you'd have for yourself? And it does not. Tammy's so excited. She hit her
Oh, the
funny
funny
bone on the
bone.
table.
It's
We're gonna
funny
take a
to us.
break real quick.
It's funny to us, not to her. Are you
So,
going to make it?
we have our goal, and then I want you to think of a single word intention. Now, it can connect to your goal and doesn't have to. Mine so happens to connect that way. So again, my goal, closing the computer so I can be with my family. My intention is family. Okay? So
Love it.
So what I mean by that is in the literal sense is making sure I am always having worthwhile connections with my family members, my kids, my wife, my mother-in-law, my cousins, my sister. I've been making sure.
Is there any other
Do you wanna
kinds of
list
My
family
brother.
members?
I'm Filipino, so I have a lot of cousins.
Maybe
but-
we all have family. But, defining every
I guess
element
I'm
of a
just
family.
saying words.
We
but,
get it.
But for me, it's I live abroad. I've been living in China for the last 11 years, so I want to make sure I'm having those connections and I'm maintaining those connections and calling them every week. And that's something that I keep doing as a habit. And we'll see each other in the summer in person and have all of my sister's kids together and all of my kids together and then my brother's dog together, all together
That's
for the first time
And then my
ever.
cousins.
That's a valid child.
That's valid. Yeah.
Love
so
it. Good job.
so in terms of family, just making sure that I'm maintaining those connections and just seeing people in my life more like family, in the sense that like, yes, I talked about boundaries, but at the same time, like I always feel like when I have
I
a
don't
really,
want any.
when I really have a good connection with someone, it's like I just want to make sure that like that you can count on me and I can count on you. And I feel like, just like you said, people are social creatures, that everyone wants to lean on each other. Like there is that inclination to. And of course, not everyone needs to be that for you, and not everyone should. But at the same time, that when you know in your heart of hearts that that person's there for you, not to be afraid to reach out if you're having an issue.
I think also as an expat, you know, you're living in a foreign land, and you know you have a wife and you have kids, you've got a mother-in-law, but you land up when your family is not with you. The people around you, the core of the onion, they start becoming, you know, they are your
Adopted
family. You know,
Yeah.
they are your family.
Yeah.
And I think for all of us that are living in a country that's not the place where we grew up, you know, you have this little core of people that are literally like your family. They naturally become, as Tammi says, like your adopted family, because we need those people.
100%.
You need someone that you can lean on and feel comfortable to lean on. So I think that's probably something that's really awesome about living abroad, is the relationships that you develop with people may be so much stronger, or the types of people that might be your friends are just, it's so much more varied. You know, I've noticed that
like
before.
sometimes I take a step back when I'm at the bar, and it's like, oh my god, we look like a politically correct friendship poster, because like everyone from everywhere.
There's one of each of us.
Yeah, we see a kid in a wheelchair and we'd be good to go. You know, it's just like there's everyone in this situation, and I don't see that back at home so much, because it's like, everyone they grew up wherever they grew up, and it's mostly people that are more or less the same, either by their own taste or culturally or anything like that. But when you live abroad, it's like the door is wide open, especially in a place like Hong Kong, where it's like the gateway to the world, right? So anyway, that's my word is family. Lou?
Wow, can you come back to me later? It's
Yeah,
still,
I
I'm still,
can.
yeah, it's a hard one.
I mean, my connection is connection.
Yeah.
I think the sort of what I would call like the warm and fuzzy stuff is a little bit easier to give a word to.
Yeah.
I don't know what I would give to my Hyrox goal though, like what word I would.
Oh, again, it doesn't have to connect to those things. It's just
Just
like,
the
what is that
intention. Just
intention
an
that you have?
intention.
Yeah. Your intention for the year is connection.
My intention for the year is connection. Yeah.
My intention for the year is to play. So, yes. I was like, he's nodding at
okay.
me. He wants more context.
Let me get up some cards. What are we doing?
So,
Go fish.
play for
Yeah.
me means to create, to have fun, to get out there and do different things. So, like the Ironman, that's play. Like, it's a totally new sport that I've never like delved into. Like, why not? Like, go and play and have fun. I mean, the thing with that is, I know that I'm going to meet an entirely different community. I think that, you know, when you do something like CrossFit, like, I know a lot of people in this sport, but you go and step into watching a friend do dragon boat racing, and I'm like, oh my God, this is like a whole nother world. So it's just really nice to be able to step out of that. And I want also to be, or put myself in a position where I am finding belly laughter. Like,
Nice.
I really had a super close connection in Hong Kong here, and she's my bestie, I'm going to say it. But she left this year, and I realized when she left, like, it's not that I didn't laugh or like have fun, but it was just like the regularity of that was much less often. And I was reflecting on like, okay, what is it? Like, why was I feeling like that? And what was it about our friendship and the way that we interacted? And it was just like, we brought out each other's inner child. And it wasn't until like starting to, because when I was taking the 515s, I can't stay at my Lama Island. I have to stay on Hong Kong side.
Right.
So I was staying at a friend's place that had kids, and just watching them was beautiful because they were super playful and didn't have to have any goal or outcome. They just had this wild idea of like, oh, we're doing this and you're going to be like the cashier for my beauty
Kids
shop.
are
And I was
funny,
like, yeah, man, like I'll do it. What do I use? Oh, this pad is the phone. Oh, this is the credit card swiper. Sweet. Like, you know, it just, you're so present and so in that moment. And I just want to have more of that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Kids have this amazing ability to just like to see the world as they need to see it,
Imagination.
and not give a shit about like social affect. Because even when they do that too, my girls are like, yeah, this is gonna be like, here's a shoe. This shoe is actually like your phone. And I'm like, yeah, but it isn't, guys.
Like,
it's like
They just have
All right, Dad.
unfettered
He doesn't get it.
imagination.
Yeah.
imagination. For
It's
sure.
Exactly.
fun. So yeah, play to have fun.
Play.
That's
I
my
like it.
goal.
All right.
Intention.
What's your intention?
My intention would be, if it is like one word, I just come up with it, is growth.
Whoa.
So
Muscles?
yeah, everything. Like
Hair?
like I
Mustache?
want to
Try it, I dare.
so like after the trip to Taiwan, I find that like I still got a lot of things to improve. No matter it's like weightlifting or even like coffee. I went to some like really good coffee shop, and I actually met my my teacher a couple years ago when I got my certificate, and I find that there's actually like I thought that I'm good at making coffee, but there are
Got some things to learn.
I got so much more to learn actually. And also one more thing is I'm gonna take over barbell club programming and also start taking over barbell club. So I want to be
Exciting.
nailing this goal, and then I want to grow the barbell club to like
Nice.
a bigger scene.
Yeah.
Is it because you're like a gardener and you like growing plants and this is you growing your life?
Oh wow.
I want to grow my plants
Sorry.
as well.
Tammy's
My
getting
brain-
existential
I
over
want to-
here.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Forget to get enough light.
if you are a
Nutrients.
subscriber to the process program, you do have access to our accessory programs, one of which is Barbell Club, meaning that Andrew, Lou, is the guy who's going to be writing it for you.
The
if
man.
you're- If you're going to be a product of that growth, it's going to be because he's writing that growth.
He's going to
for
grow
Yeah.
you too.
That's right.
He's gonna
Love
water,
it.
He's going to water you and give you enough light.
Nice.
Sunshine.
I love it, you guys.
I do want to know how these plants stay alive in this office with no sun.
Okay.
What's the
It's growth.
Yeah.
that's
As an
all.
adult, I was like, it would be so sick to just have a house that has heaps of plants. Achieved. Keeping them alive, god
Hard.
damn. That is, I had to like ask Google over here, which is Lou, by the way. The plant Google is sitting next to me. And then I also had to do like research. I was like, what does this brown spot mean?
Yeah.
What do I have to do with the roots? How often do I have to water it? Like, blah. Sorry. Anyway, that is.
I mean, that's why
It's a good learning
plastic
process.
plants are easier to take
It's
care
not
of.
an
No,
option.
never.
No? Okay.
It's not
I'll
an
never have
option,
that.
Chris. Maybe in China, but not in Hong Kong. I mean, that's
In any case, though, growth is a great word for you, as Tammy said, because if you're looking over here, these plants over here, I mean, those are your byproducts of, your skill and talent.
alive.
They're still alive,
do they
although they're
ever
not
go-
in the best condition.
Do
but
they
like,
ever need to go outside for a little sun bath or a little sunbathing?
He takes his
Sorry.
plants for walks.
Really?
Sometimes, yeah. Sometimes, but
For
like,
real, do they need to get 20 mad?
that would be great for them, but like ideally, actually, some light, according to the
The Google machine?
spectrum,
Ah,
like
okay.
actually
Does
they
the same
still
sort of thing.
absorb some frequency, some like wavelength of the
Interesting.
light, so they are still able
Not in
to
my
grow.
home.
But you can see the new leaf is not as big as
Ah,
the previous
okay.
one.
Okay,
But they can
okay.
still
need
do
to
some
change. They need to change it from Hey Siri to Hey Andrew.
Yeah,
Or Hey Lou.
so I might buy some grow lights back actually.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Like I've seen on your Instagram stories, like it's
Yeah,
quite
grow
a
light.
strong
So
line.
full spectrum grow light. Sorry, out of the.
No, it's all good.
important. That's
Yeah.
all about
Bring
growth.
it back.
Yeah, yeah.
That's
Bring it
about
back.
growth.
Yeah.
Let's bring it back.
Okay, we got family, we got growth, we got play, and we got connection.
Yeah.
These are our intentions for. Doesn't even have to be 2024. These are just our intentions right now.
Yeah.
So for those of you who are thinking about, failing at your New Year's resolutions,
Make
those
it to
goals
day
that you
18.
have.
You've already beat
Yeah.
a huge percentage of
Yeah,
people.
well, Americans anyway. But yeah, there's your goals. Think about your intentions. Omar Itani, thank you for providing these insights. I'll link your website in the show notes. But in any case, let us have a great 2024. Let's have a great day. Let's have a great weekend. Let's just have a great lots of things. Yeah.
Yeah, boy.
Woo.
Let's go.
That was
good.
original.
That was good. That was
Nice.
good. All right. Oh, we have to end with this.
Airs.
Well done.
Dish.